So I want to show you guys how all of this kind of ties together. So we've done like three different sections of the unit, and the purchase price of the house, down payments, closing costs, monthly payments, total interest, all that. And I want to show you how it all kind of start to finish goes together. So basically kind of smushing all three sections of the unit together. So I'm just going to do this one problem, and I've set up a homework assignment for you to kind of follow along. Honestly, it might not be a bad idea if you could do the homework assignment while you watch this video. Just a thought. The numbers will be different, but the problems are the same. It's a multi-step problem, and every single step, you're going to do the first thing on all of them. You're going to do the second thing the same on all of them. So just kind of following from one to the next. So my guy Roberto, he's buying a house for $275,000, but he has to make a 5% down payment. He's going to include his closing costs. That's what we did yesterday, along with the amount of the mortgage. So that's going to increase the amount of money he borrows. His bank has agreed to finance the price of the house and the closing costs in a 30-year mortgage at 6% interest. Okay, now previously when we did this, we kind of threw some of that stuff out. We're going to use all of this today. So everything up here is important and pertinent to what we're trying to do. So first things first, we need to calculate his down payment. So he's making a 5% down payment on a $275,000 house. So you simply just take your 5% times $275,000. His down payment is going to be $13,750. Okay? So step one, find the down payment. Then subtract that from the actual purchase price of the house. So he may have agreed to buy this $275,000 house, but because he's making a $13,750 down payment, he's only going to have to borrow from the bank only $261,250. Okay, so that is what he's going to have to borrow from the bank. Now, the closing costs. We have this table. I'll jump back and forth here. We have this table of closing costs that you can use, but you don't necessarily need it. These are the ones where we lump together all of the dollar amount charges, which were total $2,064. And then there was a percentage, that 3.4% of the mortgage. So Roberto, again, the house was $275,000, but he's not asking for a mortgage for the full price. His mortgage only needs to cover the difference that he didn't have. So he made the down payment. So his closing costs are a percentage of what he needs to borrow, not the purchase price. So you're adjusting for that down payment. So the 2064 plus 3.4% of 261,250. His closing, that's not right. There we go. His closing costs are an additional $10,946.50. Okay, so the next question is, what is the actual amount of the mortgage? What is his mortgage including the closing costs? Now, it's kind of it makes a little bit more sense when this flows from one question to the next, but I need to take the purchase price of the house plus the closing costs. So 261,250, 261,250 plus that extra $10,946.50. Okay, that's going to be the amount of his mortgage because the bank is allowing him to roll in the closing costs with what he needs to borrow for the house. So that 261,250 is going to mean he needs to borrow $272,000, $196.50. Okay, so pretty big chunk of change there. Now we're going to go into figuring out his monthly payment. That was section 10.2 if you need to go back and watch that. So his monthly payment is going to be that $272,196.50. Divide that by 1,000 to get it on the table. And then you have to look up the amount of his loan. It was I believe, I don't trust my memory here, 30-year mortgage at 6% interest. So that's what we need off the table. A 30-year mortgage at 6% interest is an even $6. So the amount of his mortgage divided by 1,000 times $6. His monthly payment is going to be $1,633.18. Okay, it was 0.179, so I had to round that. Okay, so his monthly payment every single month, he writes a check for $1,633.18. He's going to do that for 30 years. So the amount of his payment times 12 months in a year times 30 years. He's going to pay back $587,944.80. It's a lot of money, guys. Okay, now what we've talked about in the past is how much of that is interest. He only borrowed this amount here in number 4, but he paid back this amount here in number 6. So to figure out how much of it is interest, I'm going to subtract the two. And I'm going to subtract 272, 196, 50. Okay, minus 272, 196, 50. So he paid back, holy cow, he paid back $315,748.30 in interest. Okay, it's a lot of steps. I understand that. Your assignment, it kind of tells you, hey, do this and then subtract this number from this number and then do this and subtract those two. Read these carefully. Okay, there's probably going to be a couple of different percentages floating around. One of them is going to be the down payment. One of them is the percentage on the loan. Don't get those confused. Take your time, and if it doesn't turn green, you're doing something wrong. So make sure that you're turning these in with green cells. If you do one and it doesn't turn green and you retry it and it doesn't, send me an email. Ask me if you're here in person. I make mistakes. I'm willing to admit that, but I've kind of gone over these a couple of times. I'm pretty sure about my answer. So if it's not turning green, check your work.